top went off.
There you go. Pop it off.
Don't think, just go.
Stay too long. Whoa.
Yeah.
Run with the itchy trigger.
Unlawful discharge.
What is going on, everyone? Ruff here, and welcome back to another Icarus video. Now today we're going to be going over something that has been highly discussed and highly controversial at times in the Discord, and that is the end game for Icarus. Now before we get too far into the video, please, if you haven't already, hit that like button, and of course, if you have not subscribed, please do so. I would love to have you as a regular viewer here with all of the Icarus content, both already on the channel and coming out into the future. Okay, so the first part that ties into this whole entire endgame is the game loop itself. Now basically the cycle is pretty simple. It kind of goes like this. So you drop in, you gather all your resources, you gain XP, blueprints and talents to use, and then you use those to gear up with weapons, tools, and armor. That way you can move out, locate, and excavate these exotics. Once you've done that, you can then return to orbit and buy more upgrades so that you can go back down again with new and better technology to do harder and harder drops. Now I'm just going to throw a quick disclaimer in there. You're not going to get exotics on every single drop, especially your first 10 or so, according to Rocket. Actually, you cannot get exotics at all until you're level 20. Now, another thing I'm going to add is I have a couple small snippets here from Brian Hicks, the executive producer of Icarus. And basically, he kind of tells it in his own words exactly what they're looking for a gameplay loop for all of us as players.
I think what's most important for Icarus is that we very clearly communicate through the game's design the agency and drive that the player has to come back to the planet. You know, why do I do this beyond making a cool outpost or one or two drops and exploring the terrain, Olympus, that the game ships with? As long as we can give them that promise of, you know, cool stuff that you can spend your exotics on. I want to get that cash to bring the cool toys on my next drop.
Now after hearing that, I'm sure that we're all asking the same exact question. What is the cool stuff? Now after digging through some of the behind the scenes and the old streams, I found some screenshots and a little bit of video of some items that I think that are going to be purchasable with our exotics. Now when I say purchasable, I actually kind of mean a blueprint for these items will be purchasable. I don't necessarily see us dropping in with all of these items, especially some of the larger ones. And also to add on to that, there's things in the crafting tiers like electronics. So perhaps we are able to come down with these blueprints and then use our planet-side crafting tiers to make the components. Now first up for possible unlocks, now I'm not sure if this could actually be purchased with exotics because it's used to find exotics, but perhaps there's a way that we can find them prior, and then this makes it easier, and that's the radar. So in this first little picture, you can see where they sit on the back of a character. Now this is old footage, so I'm not sure if it looks exactly like that still, but we do have a good image of just how big it is. Now switching over to the next clip, there's some good footage of what it looks like when it actually is deployed. Again, very old footage, could have changed by now, but it just gives you a general idea. And then once it's deployed, you can see that it puts a mark on your map. And with that mark, it gives you a direction and some sort of a distance to the actual exotics that we're trying to locate. Of course, once we actually locate the exotics, we need to drill them out. Now, I'm not sure if this is a requirement for every bit of exotics. Maybe our early game exotics is something that we can mine, and then this drill comes in later. Now again, you can see that it's carried on our back like the radar. It's a large item. We've seen it in trailers, and of course here you can see it in game. Okay, now assuming that perhaps the radar and the drill are something that we could purchase with some sort of in-game currency other than exotics, let's say now we have the exotics because we've unlocked these last two. Here's some items that I really do think we are going to purchase with the exotics. First up is something that we saw very quickly in the behind the scenes making of Icarus, and that is a chainsaw. You could tell by the handle and everything, it is a chainsaw. I can see this being something that we can purchase and bring down, or purchase a blueprint and bring down with us. And of course, this will help us cut trees and gather wood so much faster and get our initial base put up that much faster. Now moving on, we're going to get into a couple weapons. Now there was concept art of a rifle, but we see that that is a hunting rifle and that is part of our on-planet crafting tier already. But I'll just throw this picture up anyway because it looks really cool. Now, other weapons that you can see here, starting off with this one, looks like a very fancy crossbow. It's got a laser sight on it and everything. I think it's something outside of what we're going to be able to craft on the planet without a special blueprint. Next up is something that looks like it will come in quite handy with bear control, and that is an automatic shotgun. You can see here that it's got a holographic sight on the top, which I'm sure is an upgrade we could purchase, a foregrip that we could purchase, and a large drum of ammo that we can most likely purchase. It would be really nice to see an initial shotgun being able to be purchased, and then these upgrades added with the exotics as well. Last but not least for weapons is a flamethrower. Yes, I actually love the idea of having a flamethrower in the game. Whether it's just to deter bears and other animals, or perhaps melt ice, I don't know. I just love the fact that we have something that is going to blow fire and kill stuff and catch stuff on fire. It's just really, really exciting to see. Now again, I believe these next two items are actually on our crafting tiers already, but maybe these are upgrades to them. And the first one looks as though it's a material processor. You can see the big cone on top where you dump in your materials, it grinds stuff out, or perhaps some sort of a grinder for grain or something that can help us cook faster. The next piece is what looks like some sort of fabrication bench. Again, part of a higher tier for the on-planet side of crafting. However, perhaps this is an upgrade to all of that, and this is something that can go faster. It's just a really cool looking early concept that I still wanted to share with you. Now, another item that came up in early concepts was, it looks as though it's a solar panel of sorts. Will it make it in the game? We do not know. I haven't seen anything that has any sort of light sources like lamps or any other items that we use to craft that requires power. Perhaps the fabricator. Perhaps the fabricator requires power. We don't know. We haven't seen them in action yet. Now, another really cool item that we saw in early concepts is, it looks as though it's an oxygen tank filler or holder, or just a drop that has a lot in it. It looks as though that these things come in with a lot of oxygen tanks already filled in them. It says that it contains stored oxygen. So perhaps this is a drop that we could somehow make or call in or have come down on the side of our drop pod that allows us to just grab these oxygen tanks right away, especially if we've dropped in with the sole purpose of traveling long distances. Now, the next two photos you're gonna see are of armor. Now, I think this is the composite armor from tier 4, but one of the things that was said in the No Rescue trailer by Soul was that we could buy a new suit. And with these, it looks like it's more than just an armor that goes over the old suit. Now, if you look at this picture from the most recent Steam post that they put up, you can see that we have our suit underneath the armor. Now, compare that back to this close-up of the top half of this armor, and you can see that the helmet and everything is different. So perhaps this is a whole new suit that we could purchase. Now, getting into the largest items that I found while digging, of course, these are the ones that I'm talking where I think that we're going to have to bring down some sort of a blueprint. I don't see us dropping in with these. And the first one up is a buggy. Now, we've seen a little bit of video of it, believe it or not, in the No Rescue trailer. I believe a little bit of the front forks is being shown for the buggy. Now, here's a couple photos that show it in-game and about how large it may be. And of course, here's another photo that really breaks down the components of it. You can see the detail that they went into when creating this little buggy. Now, last but not least is the biggest of them all. I have not found any concept of this at all, other than a little bit of footage here or there showing them testing it in the Making of Icarus videos. But I'm just going to show the trailer footage from the very first trailer that we ever got, and that's the big buggy. So I'm sure this has got to be something that we craft planet-side. I don't see us coming down with this. Perhaps it's a call-in drop. Maybe we can call in drops. We don't know. We haven't seen the details on it, but if this is something that we can drop in, I think at the very least we're going to have to assemble it to some extent. Now that's all for today, folks. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and of course, if you have anything to add to this, whether it's stuff I missed or opinions about what I added, please let me know down in the comments below. And until next time, my name is Ruff, and you be safe out there, prospectors.